Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is November 27th, 2025, episode 166. I hope everyone is having a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Travel must be outrageous today. Hope everyone has safe passage and a good time. Today's episode is probably going to be about 35-40 minutes. This cold just won't go away, folks. Going to speak about MSNOW show. Remember MS, NBC, MS, whatever they're calling themselves now today. Ken Dilanian made a comment about the National Guard and the shooting that took place. And this guy's unhinged. I'm even more unhinged by his comments. And then I'll be speaking about the Epstein files release and how the attorneys are now upset that the information has been released. There's no winning in this case. So, all right. MSNOW correspondent Ken Dilanian commented on the shooting of two National Guard members in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. And his comments were, of course, there's so much controversy happening in the United States right now with ICE, who are also wearing uniforms and wearing masks. Dillian told MSNOW, Katie Tor, and there's so, people walking around with uniforms in American cities. There are some Americans that might object to that. And so apparently this shooting has happened. This commentator is so unhinged about the Trump administration and basically blames the troops for the shooting. To say the shooting is what some Americans are justified in doing because a person is in uniform or doing their duty is sick and repulsive. What is wrong with the left media? What is wrong with you guys? Do you really think this is justifiable or explainable? I just can't get over how much the left media hates America. They truly do. I don't mind anyone questioning the government's actions. That's fine. You should be able to do that without fear. But our troops who are doing what they're ordered to do shouldn't be in fear of being shot. Now, as we find out deeper, and on Wednesday he made this comment, today we find out that the person doing the shooting is an apparent Afghan refugee who helped the CIA while in Afghanistan. So these are the people that I said should be granted access into the United States. Those people that help America and its allies should be allowed access to America. So as we find out more about this individual, it's looking more and more like some type of terrorist act or some type of revenge act against America for whatever this person's beliefs are. We don't know yet. I'm not going to make a comment on it other than to say that he is an Afghan refugee who had assisted, according to all reports, the American efforts while America was in Afghanistan. So, but this just goes again with the media. I'm not talking about this individual. I'm talking about how the media reported this. We have lawmakers who felt that our troops needed reminding of their duty and obligations under the military law. To plant the seed into our citizens' minds that our military does not follow the law as prescribed under the UCMJ, and thinking that our military is the enemy of our people is seditious. It is. It's seditious. What happened in Washington to two of our military persons is what the left media was hoping for, and with the help of these Democrats, got. They couldn't be happier. You don't think so? The happiness that Mark Kelly is having right now, regardless of, oh, no. He's happy. Because he's going to be, see, I told you something bad would happen. I told you that, no, you didn't tell us anything bad would happen. You said our troops shouldn't follow illegal commands, which none of them were doing, and which they all know already not to. Most people with common sense know that MS, whatever they're calling themselves today, has very few redeeming qualities in the media and has lied and misled the viewers with biased and innuendos of events and people. We've seen it. Biden is great. Biden is fantastic. He'll go down in history as the best president ever. He's sharp. He's on his game. They all lied. MSNBC, they all lied to you. Rachel Maddow outright distorted the truth. And now Democrats lost their chance to stand up and tell America that they do not support how the six of their party had gone about making their now illegal order statement. If I was a Democrat and heard other Democrats make that statement, I would have been the first one to stand up and go, yeah, I'm not with them. They're on their own with that. I think our military is fantastic. I think our military is non-political in its makeup and its command structure. And that you don't have to worry about that. That is something you don't have to worry about. We have so many people in place to prevent that from happening, that by the time a command comes down from up above down, it's been vetted. Democrats have lost their chance to stand up now and say, whoa, whoa, no. Instead, they double down behind these people and go, well, they have the right to say that. Yes, they do have a right to say that. But again, this comes down to should or could. Did we really need an explanation to our troops about information they already have and procedures that they already follow every single day? Now, what can we do about this? What can be done, to the Democrats, to the progressives, to the radicals, to the people that are in our government that hates our populace? And they do. They do. Well, I'll tell you what needs to be done. Republicans and moderate Democrats must stand up and let the progressive socialist Democrats and Democratic members of both houses know that this is insulting to our military, and they all face voter fallout in the midterm elections, and registered Democrat Party voters that support the Democrats, members in both houses, will not receive contributions to the DNC until such time as a statement from the DNC of a formal apology. I think the Democrats owe our military personnel, active and retired, those serving and those that have served, an apology. The actions of the seditious six must not be thought of anything but a vile political statement. That's all that was. We hate Trump. We hate the administration. We hate that Trump won. We hate that Harris and Biden lost. We hate it all. And we hate America for allowing that to happen. You don't think so? You tell me about it. The 6 Democrats, Senators Mark Kelly, Arizona, and he's a bag of feces. You look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. This is a crazy man's eyes. This is shift, crazy eyes. Darting around looking for approval from wherever he can get it. These are crazy people's eyes. If you saw those eyes on a bus, you'd probably get off the bus and wait for the next one. You'd get off the train. Wouldn't get on the train. Wouldn't get on a train platform with these people. You'd be scared if you saw them at an airport, waiting to board your flight. So these senators, Mark Kelly, Elisa Slotkin, Michigan, Representative Chris Delizio of Pennsylvania, Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire, Chrissy Houlihan of Pennsylvania, and Jason Crow of Colorado. Now, I had left off in another show Jason Crow, but he was part of the seditious six. And Mark Kelly, who seems to be now the ringleader, because he's the easiest one to get to. And probably the most notable of all these people, said, "You all swore an oath to protect and defend this Constitution." Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders. You can refuse illegal orders. You must refuse illegal orders. It's not clear what orders were ever illegal. What orders were illegal? What are they talking about? What is the reference to? I mean, that all sounds good. And everyone can agree that, hey, you shouldn't do illegal stuff. That doesn't just go for the military, that goes for every citizen. You want to be a good citizen. Don't do things illegal. And if you do, you can expect to have a problem. And all these six did was just make an open statement, which all our service persons know already. Our intelligence people, they all know this already. Drilled into them from the day they became recruits to the day they left active duty or ended or retired their careers. As if they did not know or were in fact following illegal orders. The innuendo that they were already doing illegal activity, and they knew it, and they shouldn't follow that order. What? And I've said this before. You don't follow a lawful order by a commander. You are trained what's a lawful order. You are in big trouble. You are in big, big trouble. The troops know this. The intelligence community knows this already. Who doesn't know it is the citizens who never served in the military or who have no idea even that there was a uniformed military code of justice. And no idea even what was in it and what it says. All they know is they're being told that the troops might be doing something illegal and doing illegal against citizens in this country. I shouldn't trust the military. What a piece of garbage these six are. And some of them are just plain stupid. Some of them are just plain stupid. Because if this is the way the Democrats in Congress felt, and in the Senate, they'd be lining up to get their 2 cents out there. So, how many did they ask to do that video that said, yeah, thanks, no thanks, I'm busy. See me next Wednesday. Now, the FBI has launched a probe into the lawmakers, these six. And what the supporters of our military are accusing the Democrats of, all of them who have military or intelligence background, of committing is activities affecting armed forces generally. Anyone who advises, counsels, urges, or in any manner causes or attempts to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by service members, or anyone who distributes or attempts to distribute any written or printed matter which makes such advertisements is in violation of the statute on one of those conditions. So, everyone in the service knows that. Drilled into you. If you act in this manner, if you do this, this will surely happen in one of these categories. Now, none of these are active military people anymore. They're threatening, to take Kelly, muster him back into the military, call him up, and they can do that, and then find him, start court-martial procedures against him, which would take away his pension, would take away a lot of his benefits. I don't think that should be done. I don't think that should be done to him. But he's got to make some type of mea culpa here. Mea culpa. He must have to say, hey, that's not what I meant. That's not what I was saying. That's not. And then he has to live with that about face. Now, he has already responded to the Pentagon statement on Monday that it's investigating Democratic Senator, a retired U.S. Navy captain, in light of the serious allegation of misconduct the department has received against him. It could even recall him to active duty to face court-martial or administrative punishment. Now, I said this, and I'll say it again. I don't think they should do that. I think they should give him the opportunity to back out of this a little bit. But no forgiveness here. We're going to let you keep your pension. We're going to let you keep the benefits and stuff. But you're going to be reminded. We're going to remind this all the way up to your election, if you really would even run again. But we're going to keep that up. And that should be kept up on all of them, the seditious six. And then Kelly went on to state, if this is meant to intimidate me or other members of Congress from doing our jobs and holding this administration accountable, it won't work. And he's made that post on his X account. I've given too much of this country to be silenced by bullies who care more about their own power than protecting the Constitution. Okay? All right, that's fine. Where and when did our service people violate the Uniform Code of Military Justice? That they need to be reminded of it. Show me. Show me where a commander gave an illegal order. Show me where you're defending the Constitution here. Show me where you're doing that. You can't. You can't. And what you're asking the military to do is turn on their commanders and sit on their hands. I mean, I could see the outraged military people going, he should not have said that. That should not have been something that he did. The idea that any of us need to be reminded of the Constitution. And there's plenty of people that have no idea what the Constitution even is, or why, or how, and I get that. I get that. Most people don't get the Constitution, don't understand it, don't know its meaning, uh, don't even know the roots of the Constitution. They don't. Doesn't mean they're stupid. And it doesn't mean they're uneducated. It just means they're ignorant of what the Constitution is and how it is applied and why it was created and the intent of each one of those rights. They're not taught it in school anymore. They just get opinion pieces on what it means to the person who is giving the opinion. They have no idea of even the structure of our government and what each branch is responsible for. And it's sad. It's sad. And it isn't that, they're not interested in it and stuff. It's just that it works so well. And it's ingrained into our lawmakers to follow this. And you could scream all you want, Donald Trump, violating. It's not violating. He's defining. And when there's a dispute on what the Constitution means, who gets to decide that? The robes in the Supreme Court. Exactly what the Constitution says. Do the robes always get it right? Nope. They do not. That's the way the cookie crumbles. That's how the ball is bounced. It happens. And there have been bad decisions made by the Supreme Court that took years and years and years to rectify. But, as I say, the wheel of justice turns slowly, but it does turn. Because this works. And most people don't even understand how this works. We have lawyers, we have representatives, we have the courts that have guardrails that keep that so the average American doesn't have to sit there and pore through the Constitution. It is so good that it kind of runs on its own, but there are times where our lawmakers need to look at things and go, no, that's not what that means. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the president being challenged. What I'm not fine with is when they challenge him knowing darn well that the Supreme Court's going to overrule them. Because they know, they basically know. They don't become judges for the most part. 99% of the judges are excellent. Excellent in their field. Are they political? Yep. Can most do things without worrying about impeachment? Yep. Because the laws are written by lawyers for lawyers. And they get to argue it. Where you and I don't have enough of the in-depth. That's not what we do every day of our lives. Now, not all lawyers are constitutional lawyers. They're, you know, that is a dedicated field of practice. But there's some very good lawmakers out there. Ted Cruz, constitutional law. This guy's up there among the top. He's going to be the next Supreme Court justice. You heard that from me here. If there's an opening under the Trump administration, Ted Cruz is going to be it. But we have Democrats that are now wild. They're unhinged. And there's no Democrats standing up to say, hey, whoa, what did you just say? Yeah, no, I'm not agreeing with that. There's other ways to make a point that I'm not putting my fingerprints on. And they didn't. They did this, you know, hey, if this is an anti-Trump, this is an anti-administration, this is part of the leftists, this is, you know, hey, you're gonna have people applauding you. There's a lot of Democrats that served in the military who are looking at this and going, bullshit. I didn't need to be reminded of it. I lived it. And there are people that are going to say, no, you went way too far. This wasn't about trying to protect our military. This was a political statement. And they used our military people and would use our military people against the administration. That's how dangerous this has come. This is how dangerous this has come. We had 2 of our troops shot by a possible terrorist, or at least someone that had a revenge factor against our military or National Guard. Something. There's something about this individual who was an Afghan national, came to the United States, seeking asylum, seeking to be a citizen, get a green card, stay here. Because he helped Americans and he knows that he might not be that well liked in Afghanistan. What changed? And he came here under Biden, and I get that. And they were given a special classification that no one has said there's a problem with. And then he did something like this. And it just needs to be looked at. And this guy was trusted by the British military and American military and the Afghani remnants of a military. So from what I'm hearing, he was very, very trusted. What happened? What happened with this guy? All right. That's 34 and a half minutes of me ranting on the Democrats. Bob in New York, I hope you're watching. Bob, happy Thanksgiving. And Bob, thank you for your service. And all the people that served this country and all the people that serve this country. Thank you. Thank you for making this possible. All right. Now to discuss the Epstein files. Wow, is this poetic justice or what? Trump had said he didn't want to release it because there were so many names in there. That would be guilt by association. and that, you know, he was for releasing it, but you got to have mechanism here. And they all screamed and they yelled, and how dare you, you're hiding, it's your name's in there, you. And he goes, hey, you know what? Have Congress approve it, kick it up to the Senate, let the Senate approve it. With those two approvals, when it hits my desk, my name's on it and out the door. So, the information that was given to the Congress, that they said, we're releasing this information. We have it, it's in our hands, we have the power to release it. They released it. After more than 2 years of Democrats screaming for the release of the Epstein files, which they could have always released in 2020 and didn't. The attorneys for the alleged victims are upset with the release of files from Congress. Oh, release. Oh. Names of some of the alleged victims were named from the release of the documents that were unredacted, or non-redacted, but I'd say unredacted. Because no one knew that those names were victims, since no one has truly informed the government that I know of how this all worked, except for a few that have released their names. We know exactly who they are. They filed suits. They said, hey, you put my name out there. But now apparently there's hundreds of people. So, names of some of the were unredacted of some of the victims. The Department of Justice has claimed they did not know the names of all the alleged victims, and as such did not know to redact those persons. They had no idea. A federal judge is demanding the Justice Department to explain how it will shield the identities of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims after lawyers said that dozens of their names appeared unredacted in documents released by Congress. And they made the claim there's widespread panic of these alleged victims. Now, I'm sure some of these people are upset that their name is out there, their families, colleagues, friends, their relatives, their children had no idea that they had worked for Epstein in a manner of granting sexual favors. Because that's what this is all about. And the handful of victims that we do know about, some of them were allegedly underage at the time. And the ones that did step forward in the criminal case was enough to convict Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell of sex trafficking. Edwards and Henderson, who represent hundreds of alleged Epstein victims, urged the Justice Department to redact all victims' names in any future materials sent to Congress or made public. They also asked for a private meeting with the Department of Justice to share a list of more than 300 victims they represent so that federal officials can protect against further disclosures. Now, Edwards and Henderson should be sued by these alleged victims for not going to the department or the Justice Department and say, here are who we represent. And we want to make sure their names are not, when you release this information, or if you release it, that their names are redacted. they failed to do that. Justice Department is not mind readers. Not every woman on that list is known to have been abused or made an allegation that they're aware of. And again, this is a civil matter. Now, a civil matter can turn into a criminal matter in seconds. Depends what is revealed in the discovery. My issue with the government is they had all this information. They had it. Why didn't they act on it? And all of a sudden now they're saying, well, it's just coming to light. Maybe for the Department of Justice, people handling it right now, let's go back and see who back in the day knew what was going on. That's all. How'd this happen? I'm all for protecting the rights of the victims. Absolutely. But will the DOJ redact all the names of anyone on the list that are made public or sent to Congress? The release of anyone's name found in the files would be automatically associated with a wrongdoing or a person who was victimized or was doing something other than whatever that took place in this manner. Epstein could have met women who were business associates of other people who said, hey, listen, I'd like to have, come listen to me. That's all. I'm a salesman. I'm putting my foot in the door and seeing what happens. And they had nothing to do with it. Hey, why don't you and your husband and kids come down to this island in the state? Get yourself to Miami. I'll get you on a jet over here. You'll have a blast. Who knows? I don't know. And nothing happened. Nothing took place. Nothing nefarious took place. But their name's on this list. So everyone that went there is tainted. Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, lots of people. Donald Trump. Lots of people. Are they going to be protected? Because the media will not make a presumption of innocence. They don't need to. They don't need, the media does not need to have any of that presumption. What were you doing on that island? Did you see anything? Well, hold it. You were on this date and this is when all of this happened. You didn't see anything? Nothing? But you were there. What did you do when you were there? Even better, why were you there? How did that all happen? Do you see what happens? And Trump had said this. This will take and grow legs of its own and just start walking. And Trump warned everyone. Because he knows. Who better than Trump knows? Well, we're at the 45-minute mark. Coming up. Again, everyone have a safe. I hope your Thanksgiving has been good. It's now almost 6:15 in the evening. I had turkey. I am stuffed. My family and I and some friends went over to Socrates Station in Socrates, South Carolina for their annual turkey extravaganza, stuff yourself till you drop dinner. And again, I've been there for the last 8 years. No more cooking. Well, 1 year we went to a relative's house, but no more cooking at Thanksgiving. So we go out. And I will say I was not disappointed. The food was great. The people were great. It's a great place to go. Socrates Station in Socrates, South Carolina. As I always say, mostly this time of year is nice to start thinking about it, helping people. Give to a charity if you can. If you don't feel comfortable with that, I certainly understand people's reluctance to give to charity. Give to a food bank. Not just food, they need donations. Donations in monetary allows those food banks to pinpoint exactly what they need and to whom. Food is always great. They'll always accept non-expired or damaged food or unopened food. They'll be happy to take it. And they'll distribute it. While you're there, you could ask, do you need clothes? Do you need paper products? Do you need anything else other than food that you could, that you might be short supply on it? It's hard for you to get those supplies because you don't have the money for it. But if someone walked in with, 2 12 packs of toilet paper, woman products, that'd be great. There's always someone in need. Think about it. Say a prayer. Prayer does work, regardless of what a Democrat might tell you. You want to know why I preference that? Yeah, write to me. John Radio TV at gmail.com. And just right up there, why Democrats and prayer? And I'll answer you. Other than that, everyone have a good one. The holidays are coming up. Please do not drink and drive. Not just for your own good, but for the goods of everyone around you. Call an Uber. I do. And for the 10, 15, 20 bucks that I spend, I go to sleep knowing there wasn't a chance of me hurting anyone tonight. All right, everyone, have a good evening. Be well, be safe. As I attempt to fade to black.